Hi, Rob Green here. I was flicking through LinkedIn the last couple of days, where I try desperately hard not to spend too much time. Sucks the life out of me, like most social media. Um, but I was getting congratulated on my work anniversary, um, mainly by people that I don't know. But at the same time, it's nice. It's nice to be congratulated, and it's also nice because it sends you down a little bit of a rabbit hole, doesn't it? It's a bit like those Facebook messages that I used to get when I was on Facebook. Um, that come through, with the photos of the 10 years ago this happened. It reminds you of a time gone by, and reminds you of who you are and what you were doing and who you were hanging out with, and that kind of thing. And those LinkedIn messages were the same. And it was congratulating me on my 14th year of GRM. And it took me back to January 2009 when I moved to Hong Kong as a newly married man. To set up GRM. And for those of you who know Hong Kong, you'll know Fortress, the tech store. I bought a computer and a printer, put a rope around it, and dragged it behind me up the mid-level escalators to my apartment on just off Hollywood Road, and started life and started sending emails. Obviously, it was in the middle of the financial crisis, the global the global financial crisis, where companies were laying people off all over the place, and there was me with a fresh face and a recruitment company looking to see if anyone was hiring. But that's a story for another day. Tough times. But I took that moment to really think about some of the things that I've learned about being in business and running my own business for the last 14 years, and I thought I'd share them with you. So whatever platform you're looking at this on, if you're thinking about starting a business, or you do run a business, or whether it's a law firm, because obviously we deal with a lot of lawyers, or whatever business is in, if these if these six things that I've learned over 14 years of running a business in multiple countries can teach you anything, or help at all, then great. And that's the only reason really that I'm recording this. So for those of you who are watching this and don't know who I am or what I've done, over the last 14 years, I've managed to set up the business in 8 different countries. Some have worked, some haven't. But one thing that has taught me, and sort of rule number one, if you like, is don't be afraid to make mistakes. If you're going to go into in any business that you do and you're afraid to make mistakes, you're not going to last long. You've really got to, don't be reckless. Obviously, there's always risks with anything that you do, but as long as you go in with and you're confident in your own abilities, and you're confident in what in the service that you're providing, then don't be afraid to make mistakes, because mistakes are inevitable. And things change, and economies move, and markets move, and clients fall out with you, and things happen, and competitors come along, and technology comes along, and lots of things happen, and you make wrong moves sometimes, but don't be afraid to make them and keep on going. Which brings me on to lesson number 2, I suppose, rule number 2, that I have learned over the last 14 years is, when you do make mistakes, which are inevitable, own them. Own your mistakes. I think I've always been good. I'm sure those that work with me and for me will hopefully say the same thing. But I've always I've always made mistakes, but I've always owned it when I'm the one who's at fault. I'll put my hand up and say, well, that was my decision. I'm sorry, guys. We need to change tactic, or we need to change direction, whatever it might be. But I'm always looking to improve things. So mistakes are inevitable. And when you do make a mistake, own it. That goes for anyone in any management position. Number 3 is, and this is, I'll go to the grave with this one. There's no replacement for hard work. Yes, sure. Billionaires and millionaires are made every day by people who are quicker and sharper and cut corners and whatever. But that's not the same for everybody. And technology comes along, and things are looking to replace what you do, and your competitors, and it's tough. And and more competitors come all the time. I mean, I remember when we moved into Hong Kong, I looked up the stats, and there was 4,500 registered agencies, and I said, we're going to be number one, and we're gonna work harder than everybody else, and we did, and we became number one, and we won lots of awards, which I'm very, very proud of. But ultimately, what I found is in any business, in any sector, there really is no replacement for hard work. So as long as you can admit that to yourself, and that's the kind of person you are, you will eventually succeed. Own your mistakes. Don't be afraid to make them. No replacement for hard work. Number 4, and I've had to learn this myself, obviously in the game of recruitment, it's not always, you don't always practice what you preach, but look, mediocrity and poor performance will kill a small business. So you have to hire slow. Don't rush into anything. Don't hire just for that position. Interview 3 people and hire the one that you like the most. Hire slowly, and when someone doesn't work out, talk to them honestly, make sure that they understand that it's not working out, and fire fast. Hire slow, fire fast. I'm not sure who wrote that originally, but I think there's a book on it. But it's a very true fact for yourself, certainly for a small but growing business. Number 5 is something that's really close to my heart, is treat people how you wish to be treated. Okay? Be honest with people. Treat people with the respect that you would want to be treated with, and they will give you 100% back. And that's something that I've always tried to stick with in management and running the offices and the businesses that we've started, and some of which have been very successful, some of which have not been. But try to be honest with people at the very least. And the final one really is, don't be afraid of change. Embrace change. I'm always forever talking to anyone who will listen about technology changes in every industry. And one of the things I'm most proud of in the industry that I work in, which is largely recruitment, which for those of you who don't know is a near $1 trillion business annually, and has grown rapidly over the last decade and a half. One thing I'm really proud of is that recruiters and recruitment agencies, and those in-house as well, are almost first adopters on a lot of technology. They don't sit there and go, oh, that'll never work. They grab it, they look at it, they tear it apart, they work it for themselves. We all know that LinkedIn was set up to replace the need for agencies. Yet agencies grew 100-fold in that time. Why? Because they embraced the technology in front of them. So whatever industry you're in, especially those in law, where there's a lot of legal tech coming out at the moment, and there's a lot of lawyers I speak to are very frightened about where it's going and what's going to be replaced, and AI and chatbots and whatever. Embrace it, use it, embrace the change, embrace the technology, and you will continue to evolve and you will continue to succeed. So just to recap, these are the lessons that I think I've learned. I'm sure there's millions more that I've forgotten, but these are the 6 key things that I could think about that got me thinking when those messages came through today about the congratulations on the 14th year of GRM. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Own your mistakes when you do inevitably make them. There's no replacement for hard work. Hire slow, fire fast. Treat people how you want to be treated, and embrace change. I hope that helps.